What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for my Season 7 finale breakdown video. There were a few things that I want to put into question about this episode, but I must say I love the way it ended with the wall coming down. I have been waiting for this day to come for a very long time. Although I do not want to see the show end, I do want to see the Great War take place. I am praying that Tormund and Beric were able to survive that attack somehow. I'm really not sure how they would be able to escape with the dead all around them, but I am hoping they didn't get crushed under all that ice coming down. I do not want those guys to go out like that, but it didn't look good for them, unfortunately. With the way things played out, it looks like Cersei's going to live until the very end of this series. There is no way Jon and Daenerys are going to be able to have time to remove her from power now that the Army of the Dead are south of the Wall and heading straight towards Winterfell. They have no choice but to take care of the Night King first, and by the looks of the Night King's army, I am not as hopeful as I once was. The Night King must have been hiding a big majority of his army because it looked massive during the last scene. Without the help of the entire realm, I'm not so sure Jon and Daenerys can win with what they have right now. If the Night King has his giants use bow and arrows to take down the dragons while he is riding Viserion, I don't know if any of Dany's dragons are going to survive this series, especially after seeing how easily they are being taken down already. Daenerys seriously needs to get her dragons fitted in some kind of armor as soon as possible, and Bran needs to warn everyone at Winterfell immediately about what he just saw. The castle walls need to be fitted with their own scorpions, and they need to make giant arrows with dragonglass tips so they can try to take down Viserion. I don't know what the hell kind of flame that was, but it blew right through the wall like it was nothing. This was a wall that was built using magical spells by the Children of the Forest, and it was still no match for the dragon. After watching the dragon pit scene, I am wondering if Qyburn could be of some help. He seemed very interested in the white, and it was pretty obvious he was wondering what kind of experiments he could do if he had a specimen of his own. The only problem is Qyburn is still using his skills for evil intentions. But I am confident Bronn will leave King's Landing and head north himself. In one of my previous breakdown videos, I said Bronn would end up teaming back up with Tyrion one day. But now I am sure that will happen after seeing Bronn and Tyrion have their conversation outside the dragon pit. Bronn acted like he wasn't interested in Tyrion doubling his pay, but once Bronn finds out Jaime is gone, he will have no reason to stay in the South. And you can't have a character like Bronn just leave the story now. We have seen how good Bronn is with the Scorpion. He needs to take his talents north and use them to take down Viserion with a dragonglass or Valyrian steel-tipped arrow. I did really enjoy the meeting at the Dragon Pit though. I love seeing all these characters come together and cross paths for the first time, but I also loved all the reunions. We had one with Tyrion and Bronn, Tyrion and Podrick, the Hound and Brienne, the Hound in the Mountain, Theon and Euron, and I think they all served their purposes as sort of a foreshadowing for some things for the future. Like I said before, Bronn will leave King's Landing too and head north, and the Hound and Brienne will end up fighting side by side. And Theon is now heading towards Pike to try and get Yara back, and Clegane Bowl is still on the table, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but when the Hound delivered those bone-chilling lines to the Mountain, you just know those two have to square off at some point. If you're going to give us any kind of fan service, you might as well give us Clegane Bowl. The writers are going to have to find a way to keep everybody involved in a story though, which could get tricky considering how things are playing out right now. Cersei said she was going to let the dead kill off her enemies, then she would take care of whatever was left. So I'm not sure how we're going to see Cersei again unless it's near the end of Season 8. Unless she decides to head north and attack Jon and Daenerys from the south, while the Night King and his army are marching towards Winterfell. It's not going to take the Night King very long to make it to Winterfell, but what I'm wondering is if Jon is going to be able to intervene before the dead get there. If you look at a map, you can see the Night King was closer to Winterfell than Jon and Daenerys were, considering they weren't even at White Harbor yet. But the timelines aren't in any type of order, so the next time we see Jon and Daenerys, they might have already arrived at White Harbor, heading north as the Night King heads south from Eastwatch. What I am afraid of is they're going to end this war against the Night King too quick. The directions everyone is heading in, it's looking like they're going to clash headfirst at Winterfell. And if you think of the name Winterfell, this might be where winter is going to fall again. It seems like we will get the big war against the living and the dead first. Then we're going to get the war against Cersei last. Unless everyone flees Winterfell to head south, but I don't think it's going to happen like that. I know some people have been asking me about the vision that Bran had, when he could see the shadow of the dragon flying over top of King's Landing. Some of you have been speculating that this might be the Night King flying on Viserion over King's Landing, but I don't think that is the case. When Jaime left King's Landing, it was starting to snow already, But when you watch the vision Bran had, you can see that King's Landing was still sunny and there was no snow on the rooftops. If this was the Night King on the dead dragon in his vision, you would see snow everywhere, especially considering he usually brings the storm with him. Cersei might actually be making the smart move again. If she lets Jon and Dany fight the Night King on their own, then she can keep all of her troops alive. Plus she will gain the 20,000 men from the Golden Company. If Jon and Daenerys are able to defeat the Night King with what they have, they will definitely take a significant amount of losses, and they won't have enough men left over after the Great War to defeat Cersei. In order for Jon and Daenerys to be able to win both of these wars, they're going to need to stop Cersei from getting reinforcements from the Golden Company, and there are a few different ways that could potentially be done. I know this is a long shot, but just hear me out. If Theon can somehow catch up to his uncle Euron and take him down, he might get all of the Ironborn on his side. Then Theon and Yara could take Euron's entire fleet back to the north. Killing Euron would take away Cersei's biggest alliance right now, and it would take away the Golden Company's transportation to Westeros, and this would give Jon and Daenerys enough time to regroup after they take care of the Night King. But this is assuming they are even going to be able to stop the Night King, which isn't a guarantee right now. But Theon is on his way to save Yara, and if he can somehow pull this off, I think with Theon and Yara together, they can sway the rest of the Ironborn that is with Euron, and they can convince them to join the fight against the dead. Plus they would gain Euron's massive fleet. I think Theon finally got some of that closure he was looking for from Jon. He will always have PTSD after suffering years of mental and physical abuse from Ramsay, but I think the conversation he had with Jon really helped him heal some of his wounds. Theon has felt absolutely terrible about betraying the Starks, and now I know some of you can debate whether or not Theon had a good reason to betray them, but Theon himself has felt bad about this, ever since he realized his father would never accept him for who he was. He knew Ned treated him better than his own father ever would. He didn't need Jon to tell him this. That's why Theon told Ramsay his real father died in King's Landing. He was talking about Ned Stark. Sansa already forgave Theon for what he did when he saved her, but Theon probably didn't think Jon ever would, and this tore him up inside. Back in Season 2, when Theon took over Winterfell, Maester Luwin told Theon to join the Night's Watch, otherwise he would be taken prisoner because he was surrounded by the Boltons. You could see that Theon considered what Maester Luwin said for a split second, but he knew Jon would kill him if he ever showed up at Castle Black. But Jon let him live when they met again on the beach, only because he saved Sansa. But when Jon told Theon he was always going to be a Stark, even though his last name was Greyjoy, this gave Theon that closure, and it gave him the courage he needed to go out there and kick that guy's ass. And I think when Theon bent down into that water and washed the blood away, I think this was kind of like a baptism for Theon. He was reborn again on this beach, and we won't see him back down from Euron ever again. That's why I am confident Theon's redemption arc is not over. And that's why I believe he will be the one to take down his uncle Euron. If Theon could take out Euron and take over his fleet, this would at least momentarily cut off Cersei from getting the Golden Company. I am sure Cersei would try and find another way to get them to Westeros, but this could buy everybody some time. Another way Cersei could be cut off from the Golden Company is if by some crazy chance Daario is somehow with them. He could set Cersei up and join forces with Daenerys again. We all know Daario wanted nothing to do with Meereen, and he was only there because Daenerys was there. And when she told him to stay behind, he was not happy about that. The only problem is the Golden Company is well known for never breaking a contract, so it would be kind of hard to believe they would not honor their commitment to Cersei Lannister. But then again, there is a first time for everything. This could be the perfect heel turn that Cersei would never be expecting. She would be confident that the Golden Company would uphold their contract, but if they came to Westeros and turned their back on her, that would be pretty damn cool. You know who did work for the Golden Company at one time? Jorah Mormont was once a sellsword for the Golden Company before he started advising for Dany's brother Viserys. The Golden Company was founded by one of Aegon Targaryen's bastard sons, Aegor Rivers, which of course is an ancestor of Daenerys and Jon. The show writers could try and tie this in with the storyline somehow. With the way things are being written and done now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Golden Company's connection to the Targaryens isn't mentioned, especially now that Jon's true name was revealed as Aegon Targaryen. I don't want to reveal too many things in this video because I have plans on making a separate one, but let's just say there are going to be some interesting things going on with this whole Golden Company subplot in Season 8. But since I already mentioned Aegon Targaryen, let's just jump into the whole Jon and Dany sex scene. I have been saying for the last few videos that I think Jon is going to get Daenerys pregnant. I think we all knew they would have sex, but they have also been making it very obvious that Dany would get pregnant again. And Jon even hit us right over the head with it when he told Daenerys she shouldn't have taken the advice of Mirri Maz Duur. Jon and Daenerys were even playing with the broken skull of a baby dragon. Jon handed it to Daenerys, and this could be a symbolic representation of Jon giving Daenerys a baby dragon of her own when he plants his seed inside her. That's just my opinion though, but this relationship is going to cause some serious problems in the future. You could see the look on Tyrion's face when he knew Jon and Dany were having sex. Tyrion can feel his influence and position as the hand slipping further and further away. Tyrion also knows how having a sexual relationship can complicate things and continue to put Daenerys in danger. He knows Daenerys already lost a dragon trying to save Jon. What else could she lose trying to help Jon in the future? She may end up losing her life, and Tyrion is visibly concerned about this. But this also complicates things politically. When Jon finds out him and Daenerys are related, Jon might want to cut the relationship off, and this could be where Daenerys feels her third betrayal. Jon will still want her as an ally, but he might want to cut the physical part off, especially if he starts feeling the heat from outside influences. But Jon is in love, so he might not care. I am just as curious about this as everyone else. I want to know what Jon and Daenerys will do when they find out they are related. I want to know what Daenerys will do when she finds out Jon has the stronger claim to the throne than she does. Jon will never want the throne for himself, but Daenerys may still feel some type of way when she knows she isn't the rightful heir after thinking this whole time that she was. It's going to get very interesting to see how their dynamic plays out when they both still need each other now more than ever, considering the Night King is heading right for them. But speaking about pregnancies, we never did see Cersei have that miscarriage, so the show must have cut that out for whatever reason, or we will see that happen next season at the beginning. I think instead of Cersei having a miscarriage to fulfill the Maggie the Frog prophecy, I think it would be better if she gave birth to a dwarf. After all the years of abuse she has put Tyrion through, I think it would be a nice slap in the face if she gave birth to a dwarf. She would quickly regret saying all those things about Tyrion when he was born, knowing damn well he wasn't born with claws and a tail. I also want to mention something else. Was it just me, or did anyone else think Jaime was about to be killed by the Mountain? When Cersei gave him the head nod and he pulled his sword out, I got very nervous. I did not want Jaime to die. He still needs to fulfill my prediction for me. I think Jaime will sacrifice himself saving one of the Starks, and possibly even Bran. His story began with pushing Bran out of the window, so I think it could end with him saving Bran or one of the other Starks in some way. I was so happy to see Jaime finally leave Cersei. She has been the absolute worst influence on him, but now that he has broke free from her grasp, I have very high hopes for Jaime Lannister. I love seeing Jaime without that Lannister armor on, but he didn't just take it off because he was done with Cersei. He has to take it off or else he could be killed on his way north. That's also why he put the glove on over his golden hand, so he could hide who he was. It's not because that golden hand was actually cold. I am confident he will make it to Winterfell and help out with the war, and that's where he will unite with Brienne and Tyrion again, and I am very excited to see where Jaime's story heads next. Winterfell has now stabilized a little bit after the death of Littlefinger. Sansa and Arya are both fully committed to Jon ruling the North. Neither one of them have to worry about Littlefinger ever influencing anyone's opinion about who should rule. But Jon's birth name has yet to be revealed to everyone, and that can certainly change things. But how did you all feel about Littlefinger's death? Was you satisfied watching Arya cut his throat wide open, or would you have rather seen Sansa do it? It kinda reminded me of the way Grey Worm cut the throat of the slavers back in Meereen. I did love seeing Littlefinger as vulnerable as he was. He had no more moves, no more lies to weasel his way out of. When Bran started feeding Littlefinger's quotes back to him, he about crapped his pants again. I loved how all of the Starks came together as a pack to take down Littlefinger. Bran revealed all of the things Littlefinger thought no one in the North would know. And Sansa revealed all the things Littlefinger thought she would take to her grave. And Arya finally put him out of his misery. This was a big moment for all the players left in the game. Littlefinger was one of the best to ever do it, but taking him off the board allows for them to focus on what is truly important, and that is what is heading right at them. The Night King and the Army of the Dead should be knocking at Winterfell's gate by Season 8, Episode 2 at the latest. But as fast as everyone has been traveling in this series now, they could be there in the Season 8 premiere. They are already marching past the wall and heading south, and as of right now, Brain is the only one that knows. Eastwatch was completely level to the ground, so I don't think anyone there could send a message south even if they survived the wall falling down onto everything and crushing it. I have always felt the big battle would take place at Winterfell simply because of all the connections just to the word winter alone. The Stark words are winter is coming, and that never just meant the winter weather is coming, that also meant a king of winter was coming from the lands of always winter. I think the Night King will be slain at Winterfell because that's where the King of Winter had fallen before. That's where the most epic battle of all time will happen again, but this is just my opinion. Let me know what you think about everything down in the comments. What are some of your predictions heading into Season 8? I would like to hear what you think. I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I have barely scratched the surface with this one. This was just a general overall view of everything. I will be making many more videos all year long until the new season begins, so I hope to see you all back for those. I also need to thank all of you kind people who help support this channel on Patreon. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.